give the floor now to Mr. Lamoureux, candidate for Willow Park.
Thank you very much. It's great to be with you here this evening. During a campaign, many different things you have to do. Go knock on doors outside, and sometimes you get the apartments. Those are always a special treat. And you find at nighttime as it gets darker, fewer people open the doors. So you're always looking for things that you can do as a candidate and to be able to communicate a message. Messages that are important for all of us. So it's nice when we get invitations to participate in things of this nature. And, you know, one of the things that make note of is the fact that it is very, very cold with the snow, and as I was driving up I could see some people even doing some shoveling. So you're a hardy group for coming out here this evening to listen to, I think it's 7 politicians in total that are running here in Winnipeg North.
Well, we have 4 today.
4? Just 4, eh? So you have a very open mind, and I appreciate the fact that I've been afforded the opportunity to share some thoughts with you. I've been a provincial MLA for many years, approaching 19 years actually. And actually the Shaughnessy Park area is an area that I used to represent many years ago, between 1988 when I was first elected to 1999. So it was then the 88 provincial election, 90 provincial election, and 95. And one of the things that I was very fond of was the fact that at that time, when this was a part of the boundaries, because they changed the boundaries and I lost the Shaughnessy Park area, was that the co-ops. The co-ops are a wonderful thing in terms of just an alternative to housing. I was a very strong, even before I got involved in politics, I was quite involved in urban revitalization through Weston, and I was a charter member of the Weston Housing Co-op, because I genuinely believe that the co-ops is by far the way to go when it comes to housing. Someone had asked me, well, what's the difference, Kevin, between a co-op and an apartment block? And put quite simply, you know, in an apartment block, you are a tenant. In a co-op, you are a resident. And there is a significant difference between the two. And you see that in terms of if you go out and you visit co-ops versus apartments. What makes this a very unique place is that I believe, at least I used to say this many years ago, that this is definitely the oldest co-op in Canada. It might even be the oldest co-op in North America.
I just said that.
Is that right? Is that right?
It's very true. It's
yeah,
true. Yeah,
you know, and it's something that we should you know, take some pride in. There are other co-ops in the city of Winnipeg, and you know, there's always highs and lows in any organization, and I suspect the same principle would apply even for this particular co-op. But I can remember years ago participating, I believe at I think it was the Lincoln Hotel, where they would have the AGMs, right? And they've always had that interest, because I believe in them. To the degree in which a number of years ago I had made the suggestion that Gilbert Park and other larger housing complexes, and how do you try to allow people to get that higher sense of pride in community and development. And it's just that one of the things that we should consider looking at is converting, where we can, current housing stock into co-ops where it's practical and it makes sense. So those are the type of thoughts that I had when I was first told that we're going to be coming to the co-op tonight. I just wanted to be able to share that. For me personally, I've been a provincial politician responsible to represent the people in which voted in the last in the election, and their family and friends, the people that live inside that constituency. And doing that representation is in fact the first and most greatest in terms of important role that I play. And as I say, we take that very seriously. That's the reason why, just prior to coming here, I was over at the local McDonald's on Q80 Street. I've been doing that for many years. Someone says, well, why do you do that? Because I don't want to knock on a door and hear someone that says, you know, Kevin, I only see politicians during the election. I want people to know that they have accessibility to me, that I am there, that and sometimes we all make mistakes, and even myself, we make mistakes, but you have to feel comfortable in knowing that if you need to meet with me, that you can go by the McDonald's, and I will be there every Thursday. And that's something that I've done for many, many years. And that's why I say we have a proven track record. About accessibility, every year I have my family day over at the Willow Park School, which is celebrated July the 1st, which happens also to be Canada Day. We have fireworks in the evening, we have barbecues during the day, and the purpose of that, again, is just to be able to communicate with people, to show them my appreciation in terms of being their representative. Every year, or every other year I should say, we would canvass to get opinions from people. Even back in 1988 through to 1999 when I used to represent this area, we would send out questionnaires. And they weren't just simple ones. These are questionnaires that would have 45 plus questions on, gauging all sorts of different issues. Because you see, I honestly believe that the greatest resource that a person has as an elected official is the people in which they represent. So if you can tap into the minds of your constituents, you'll get a very good idea in terms of what are the important issues for our community. So by doing those questionnaires, I get a very good sense of what's happening. I made reference in terms of inside the legislature and the amount that I talk. It's because I'm able to have a very good idea in terms of what's in the minds of my constituents that I'm better able to address the different issues. When I talk about experience, Manitoba, Winnipeg in particular, there is no city in Western Canada that is more dependent on financing from Ottawa than Winnipeg. In Western Canada, no city is more dependent on the financing. No province. It's healthcare. We can talk about the Seven Oaks. You know, it's great that we now have the access office that's going to be relocating in a bit higher of a profile place in terms of being a little bit easier in terms of accessibility for people outside of the Willow Park community itself. And it's great to see. You know, 3 years ago, it wasn't even in the throne speech. It wasn't in the throne speech. Someone called me from Willow Park, even though it wasn't a part of the area, but that health center serves a lot more people than just the Shaughnessy Park area. Someone mentioned it, and they said, well, why is the St. James Access Center open or in the throne speech, but not Northwest? You know, we were able to raise the profile inside the Manitoba legislature. We got it into the onto the order paper for question period. And you know, a few weeks later, we got the commitment. Yes, we're prepared to also look at the Northwest Access Center. That we will make it a priority. You talk about the Seven Oaks Hospital. Seven Oaks Hospital is one of those jewels that are in the northwest corner of our city. Something that's worth fighting for. When they cut back on the emergency general surgeries, that had an impact. It had an impact on a lot of people that live in Winnipeg's North End. You need to be, you know, number one, you have to be aware of it. Number two, you've got to protect what it is that you have. And that's one of those things that's worth protecting. You know, I stayed overnight in the emergency, 24 hours, as a form of trying to make the public better aware of it. We can talk about the community police offices. Community police offices are very important. You see, through a community police office, the officers get to know where the problems are within the community. They can identify the youth that are causing a lot of the problems. You know, I was the only politician in the North End that actually stood up and petitioned and argued and articulated as to why it is that they shouldn't have closed down the community police offices, whether it was on McPhillips Street or on Main Street. It's understanding those issues that have a real impact on our communities. And those are the types of things that I believe that at the end of the day, I want to be able to help, to be able to serve the residents of Winnipeg North. You know, many of you will recall there was a time in which you could actually walk down streets like Selkirk Avenue, Alexander Avenue, feel comfortable. In fact, on many occasions, people would even take their family members out there. You could use it as a shopping experience. You could go there and have some bakery, you could get some work done on shoes or whatever it might be, and you felt safe. You know, 30 years ago, it was a busy, beautiful street.